Alright guys, this is Jason with the Primal Outdoors channel, and today we are going to be working on an axle swap on our drifter trailer. Now, my drifter trailer came with the Dexter Axle, a 3,500 pound Dexter Axle, and I've really liked it. It's rode really nice, and I actually liked it much better than the Timbren axle that I used to have on my CBT trailer. But we ran into an issue that even though these are 3,500 pound axles on a 2,000 pound trailer, we bent the axle with some of our overland trailers, and it did bend in such a way that it's from the stress of the weight. So we're going to actually try Timbren's again. I contacted Timbren, told them that I wasn't all that happy with the ride I got out of my old axles, and they said that the axles that I had on my old trailer were too heavy for the trailer, and that's why the ride was so bad. And they suggested their 1-ton axle for this trailer. So they sent me out a set, and since we're having struggles with the Dexter axle, we're going to try Timbren's again and try their recommended 2,000 pound axles and see if we can get a better ride. All right, so the first thing we did was got the trailer jacked up, and now we've just got the trailer sitting on its stabilizers, which are plenty strong enough for that, and kind of handy if you're out in the field and need to change a tire. You can go ahead and jack it up and be able to support the trailer with that if you needed to remove the jack for whatever reason. But anyways, we do have the tires off at this point. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to measure where the axle centers are so that we can get the new Timbren axles as close as we can, and then we're going to start removing the axle. Alright, so we got our surfaces all prepped and we're ready to go, and we're starting to mock up the suspension to the bottom of the trailer. Now, a couple things to be aware of is the Timbren suspension will come with all the mounting hardware you need except for the hardware to mount it to the trailer. I'm assuming that they probably don't send that because different frames are different and you may have to kind of have different size bolts. So we had to make a quick run to town and get some grade A hardened bolts to mount the Timbren suspension up. The other thing too that we're kind of looking at is this is the 2,000 pound long arm suspension, and Drifter Trailers has mocked or has actually sold trailers and sold the 3,500 HDs, but they're not the actual long arms. So we have gotten ours as far forward as we possibly can, but it might actually still ride a little bit. The axle may be a little bit behind where the center was on the Dexter axle, just because we can't get any farther forward. So there's a little concern there. But anyways, so at this point, like I said, we're kind of mocking things up and getting ready to drill our first holes. Alright guys, so we are on day number 2 of the Timbren axle retrofit. We got everything bolted up yesterday, but we've decided that after looking at it, we want to add a bit more bracing on the frame. Again, this frame was designed for a Dexter axle. It wasn't designed with Timbren's in mind. And there's a couple different ways that you can install these Timbren's. The Timbren has basically got an L bracket where you can through bolt 3 bolts through the frame, and then it's got the ability to put bolts up through the bottom into a plate. If the trailer is designed for the Timbren's, it will have a plate on the other side of the frame for that to bolt through. This trailer does not, because again, it was built for Dexter axles. So when you have a trailer like this that doesn't have that plate, what you can do is you can use a cross member that goes through this square tubing hole here. 2x2 by 1/4 inch thick square tubing goes from this side to the other side to help secure and brace everything. But you know, considering the fact that I was able to bend a 3,500 pound axle doing stuff off-road with this trailer, we feel like we really want to you know, boost up our bracing here, or beef up our bracing here, and make this a little stronger. One of the things that we're concerned about is the square tubing that we're bolting through, that by bolting in and tightening down, that wants to squeeze in on our square tubing. So we're going to add a piece of angle iron, 3-inch angle iron on the back side. So that way, not only is that going to create some bracing so that we don't squeeze the angle iron or the square tubing, but it'll also give us a location to bolt up through. So that way we're going to be able to have the bolts in here, the bolts under the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and do the cross member as well, so that we can have, so this whole structure here is as strong as we can possibly make it for, you know, so that it can handle all the punishment that it's going to gain off-road. Alright folks, I just want to take a minute and thank Jackery for sponsoring this video. The capacity of the Jackery Explorer 500, coupled with its compact streamlined size, makes it an absolutely perfect solution to meet all my power needs while I'm out in the field. The Explorer 500 gives me all the ports I require to accommodate all the different chargers for my camera gear and other devices. And the large capacity gives me a full 8 hours of photo and video editing time, making sure that I can keep up with my content creation while out in the field. If you have need for a portable, reliable power solution, give the complete line of Jackery products a check at www.primal-outdoors.com/Jackery. Alright, so we're finally kind of getting along here. It's definitely backed us up a couple hours or a few hours redoing the supports that we're building. But basically what we've done, because there is a cross member on the frame that's going across right where the Timbren axle is we've built two of these little box-shaped pieces. It's angle iron with a little piece of flat bar welded on, and then we have another one that's a bit longer that goes on the other side. These mount up underneath the frame and allow us to bolt through the Timbren, through the frame of the trailer, and then into this angle iron. And then this also gives us a place to bolt up through the Timbren through the bottom. This bolt hole here is to go through so that we can clamp the two pieces that we have to the cross member underneath. So hopefully I'm kind of also showing you guys some shots of this all bolted up underneath so you can kind of see. But with this extra support, we feel really confident, along with the added square tubing that goes across between the two axles, that it's a lot more sturdy than if we would have just stuck with it having bolted through the square tubing of the trailer frame without these supports. Alright guys, so at this point we've got the axles all mounted up permanently to the trailer. All the components and everything that we made, the crossbar and everything, have been painted and mounted up. Scott went through the process of putting the hubs on.
So we were reading over the directions. I had kind of already set the preload on these bearings, like I've always done it a million times. And in the directions, they want us to tighten to 200 pounds, foot-pounds, while we're rotating the hub, and then back off a full turn, and then tighten it up to 50 foot-pounds. So I'm going to see how kind of close it was the old school way I've always done it, and we figure we'll follow the manufacturer's recommendations on how to do the bearings. So here we go.
So at this point, what we need to do is go about aligning the trailer. There are some instructions that they give us, but they tell us to flip the trailer over or the frame over. So obviously that's not an option for us. So we're going to have to kind of just do some measurements and see if we can get the camber and toe set as best as we can with the trailer, you know, setting the way it is. Alright, so we're beginning the alignment process. The first thing we're going to do is try to get just for our camber this way. The trailer packages comes with these little shims that you put in so that you can adjust that either up or down depending on what you need. We've taken the time and leveled the trailer, got the trailer perfectly level. So what we're doing is we're just taking this really nice level that my buddy has and putting it up against the hub, and then we are going to get it to where the hub is completely level up and down. And then what we'll do is we'll start working on our toe in and toe out from that point. But we want to get these little shims in if it needs it before we work on toe in and toe out, because we don't want to get our toe just right and then have to loosen the bolts to put these shims in. Alright guys, so we're all done with the install of the Timbren axles. It came out really well. I'm pretty happy with it. The one thing that I do notice, and you guys can notice, is the back tire is back a little bit more than it used to be, and there was nothing we really could do about that because of the fact that this beam right here is in the way of us being able to push the Timbren axle any far forward. So we'd had to do some major refabbing of the fender in order to actually get this to recenter exactly inside. Now that again is only a problem because this is the long arm Timbrens. Steve from Drifter has actually put the 3500 HDs on these trailers, and those don't have as long as arm, and so you can put those on without actually having a center problem here. But because this is the long arm suspension, we ran into that problem. But all in all, I think it'll be okay. Only I'm a little fearful I might get a little rubbing right here if I hit a good bump, a good hard bump. But all in all, I think it'll be okay. We got everything towed in and the camber checked. Scott can tell you about that.
Basically what we did was Steve at Drifter did a great job of making this trailer frame square. I mean, it's perfect on the nose square. So I shot a laser, I got a laser line level. We shot it down one side of the frame rail, and I had about a 3-foot chunk of flat bar that we put against the hub to measure squared up to the frame, plus give it a little bit of toe in. The camber was pretty good, and that's pretty much how we did that. It was pretty easy once we got that line shot.
Yeah. So after that, it was just a matter of wrapping up a couple little things. The center bar that comes through the trailer from the hitch all the way to the back actually was in the way of the cross member that we had to add for the Timbren axle, so we had to cut that out. And then once we were all done, had everything set, Scott welded that back to that, so I actually still have a solid connection all the way from the front of the trailer to the back. So if I do need to be recovered from behind, I can still feel confident that I can do that without messing up the trailer at all. So, and then Scott wired up the trailer brakes, and we put the wheels on and retorqued them. So yeah, everything looks good. So I'll be using this and seeing how I like the ride and how these axles work compared to the Dexter. Like I said, I really like the ride of the Dexter. I'm really surprised I was able to bend the 3,500 pound axle, because again, I do feel like 3,500 pound axles should have been more than enough axle for this trailer. But yeah, just kind of keep following the channel, and we'll eventually do a complete review and see how I feel about these one ton long arm suspension from Timbren here in maybe 6 to 8 months. So anyways, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you have any comments or questions about anything that we did in the video, just leave that down in the comment section, and we'll catch you guys again outside.